He's like the daddy of calorie counting. I'm just kidding. The fuck?
I'm not burning out, won't fade away, time to shine brighter. I've always been a fighter, on your way down, give me
Good morrow, everybody. My name is Robin, also known as Sunny Side Up Gal, and you are my Sunny Side Up pal. Hello, hi, welcome to the channel. Welcome. Welcome. If you are new here, hi, hello. I'm so glad that you're here. And everybody who is a subscriber is also glad that you're here because we're chill up in this hood. And if you are not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you and I appreciate you. Thank you. Back to the newbies. If you are not already thinking of it, go ahead and like the video because I think you're going to like the video. And then also consider giving me a subscribe.
whatever.
Today is going to be an episode of, partial fat news. Okay, so it's not really fat news, but it is about nutrition, which can affect the fats directly. It's health and wellness current events. First of all, if you guys haven't already heard, there is a new food pyramid in town, and she is actually looking pretty tasty. So let's jump into things. We've got a new food pyramid, which is the new pyramid just freshly dropped from the government. And look at its glory. It's basically the old food pyramid, but like flipped upside down, and they tell you to eat more meat.
It's upside down.
What? Turn the pyramid upside down. Sir, we've got a match.
And I'm going to jump into the history of the food pyramid and dietary guidelines that the government has issued on its people. But clearly, as a keto gal who is on the same page as Fat Bastard when I say carbs are the enemy,
Carbs are the enemy.
I believe that carbohydrates and a sedentary lifestyle is what's causing the obesity epidemic. Plus grazing, plus eating nonstop constantly calories is also causing this. So I like to see this less grains, less bread at the very bottom of this upside down pyramid. We love it. We like it. Listen, so to answer my own question, I love it and I like it. I don't think I have any qualms about it. I'm even looking, I don't think I have any problems with it. It doesn't even say to have sugar, I don't think. Let me see. Because you know what, the old food pyramid, let me show you the old food pyramid. The old food pyramid even lists fats, oils, and sweets. The new food pyramid doesn't even list fats, oils, and sweets. Can y'all see that? Yeah. The new pyramid has no fats, sugars, sweets, or anything like that. I mean, it's got like healthy fats like butter, which if you guys don't think that butter's healthy, you're stuck in that diet culture mentality because guess what? Butter's in. Butter's good. Butter is good for you. And then it's got like oil right here, olive oil. I don't see any candy. I don't see any sweets. You know, it's so funny. When I was a little girl, I was like, what the fuck is these little dots? I had no idea what the little dots were. Obviously, I didn't know what a key was, but I was like, is that sugar? Because it looks like little sugar grains. Anyway, let's look at the clear differences in these two pyramids. So this is the food pyramid from the 90s. I am going to go into the history of it, but I wanted to discuss pictures first. This is the food pyramid from the 90s. This is what I learned off of because mommy was born in 1991. So it's telling you to eat 6 to 11 servings of bread, cereal, rice, and pasta, which I have a feeling, maybe I'll put something in post, that was something to help out like farmers from this. And I'm just spitballing. I feel like the whole reason why we've been told to eat more bread, cereal, pasta, yada, 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 is because at some point, maybe in history, maybe during a war, again, this is just me pulling out little bits of memory that I have, little bits of some things that I've read. We started overproducing grains, and then the government was like, okay, well, to help out these farmers that were overproducing the grains, we'll just tell people to eat more grains. It could be conspiracy theory. It could be like my own little aluminum hat situation. That's why I think the food pyramid said to eat a shit ton of fucking bread and grains. Even though bread, to me personally, I love bread.
I love to tour.
But it's like a winter food. It's like a famine food. You know what I mean? You don't need to eat it all year. That's just me. And then it was telling you to eat 2 to 3 servings of meat, poultry, dry beans, eggs, nuts. So all the protein, 2 to 3 servings. So very low protein compared to the carbohydrates, which has been proven as of late with this obesity epidemic to not be good for people who, especially for this country, which is muy sedentary. Again, you guys, I'm not 100% against carbohydrates. For me, yeah, sure I am. I mean, I still have fruits and vegetables, but I don't think that they're for the everyday average American who doesn't exercise. I think that they're for people, if you're a runner, please have my carbohydrates. If you have like a naturally very extremely fast metabolism, sure.
I'm gonna need an unlimited supply of xenotapes and Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets.
Have some carbohydrates.
They help me concentrate.
If you are a like bodybuilder, like a wrestler, like and you're like lifting,
I'm the macho man, the better than the best.
I don't know, have some carbohydrates. But me personally, I think most of the country would do wonders if they even split their carbohydrate intake in half. Average carbohydrate intake, I spelled that wrong. 225 to 325 grams daily is the average intake. Now, what is the recommended carbohydrate? Oop. Mommy doesn't know how to spell. So people are usually doing the recommended amount, which it's too much. I think it's too much. So even if you were to cut that, you still wouldn't be considered like, I wouldn't say that that's considered low carb, but some people would. You wouldn't be keto. And I think that you would do wonders. And a lot of people can cut that carbohydrate intake total in half by just like cutting out sugary drinks. So when you're at Starbucks, just switch to like the sugar-free vanilla. Vegetable group, 3 to 5 servings. I feel like the new pyramid and the old pyramid are on the same boat there, in the center of the pyramid. But now our big portion of the pyramid, top of the pyramid, is meat, vegetables, and fruit. Oh no, I guess the vegetables have moved up also. And then the fruit have moved down, it appears. Because fruit, guess what, you guys? Fruit is just sugar in a different form. Hate me if you want. Fruit is sugar. You should know that. Fruit is sugar. It's nature's candy. And I'm not saying I don't eat fruit. I just don't have bananas as often as I'd like. And I do have apples every now and then. Now and then, I have apples. Now and again. But if I do have fruit, it's mostly like berries and stuff. The low carb stuff. All right, so we're going to go into the history of USDA nutrition guidelines. I'm just going to read a little bit, chit chat, react a little to that. Okay, oops, sorry. All right, so the history of the USDA nutrition guidelines includes over 100 years of nutrition advice promulgated? What the? Damn, right off the bat, mommy doesn't know how to read. Never heard of that word. Have you? Have you heard of that word?
Promulgate.
Promulgate. Put into law. Put a law or decree into effect by official proclamation. Promulgate. That's the word of the day. Promulgate. Okay. 500 years. 100 years of a nutrition advice promulgated by the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. The guidelines have been updated over time to adopt new scientific findings and new public health marketing techniques. The current guidelines are the Dietary Guidelines for Americans 2020 to 2025. The 2015 to 2020 guidelines were criticized as not accurately representing scientific information about optimal nutrition and as being overly influenced by the agricultural industries by the USDA promotes. So yes, like I said about the whole like the grains in the old food pyramid, there is some controversy as far as like the government trying to get their hands into some part of big food or subsidizing or helping out like farmers that are overproducing a specific, that's why they have high fructose corn syrup in like drinks and stuff like that, is because there's so much corn that they were like, let's make sweet with this, let's make some sugar with this shit. they'll manipulate the guidelines for people, because there's people out there that don't really think for themselves, and then there's people who, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but people like me who are like, okay, this fucking thing isn't working for me, let's try my own thing, let's see what else we can do, fuck the food pyramid and MyPlate or whatever, what's gonna work for me? And I found what was working for me. It won't work for everybody. Not everybody is destined to be like a low carb baby like me. I'm not giving you any advice. I'm just saying that the government had its hand in something to to get more money. I don't know. It's a thing, okay?
Carol! Carol, I gotta talk to you about Pepe!
But yes, it's been influenced by lobbyists. You know, there are people that go to Washington to get people to vote, to sway the pyramid in a way that helps their industry the best. Okay? Like, I'm wondering, since the guidelines have no sugar on the pyramid anymore, if like Coca-Cola is fucking shitting themselves. Probably not, though, because it's so addicting that people don't need a pyramid to tell them like what to eat. All right, earliest guides. The USDA's first nutrition guidelines were published in 1894. That is interesting, by Dr. Wilbur Olin Atwater. First of all, what happened to names like that? Wilbur Olin? Presh. My dog Duncan, his middle name is Wilbur. As a farmer's bulletin in Atwater's 1904 publication titled Principles of Nutrition and Nutritive Value of Food, he advocated variety, proportionality, and moderation, measuring calories and an efficient, affordable diet that focused on nutrient-rich foods and less fat, sugar, and starch. This information preceded the discovery of individual vitamins beginning in 1910. All right, so I'm interested in looking at Wilbur Olin Atwater's thing. So let's open that in a new tab. Okay, Wilbur Olin Atwater. Again, he published Principles of Nutrition and Nutritive Value of Food, and advocated variety, proportionality, and moderation. Okay, Wilbur Atwater was an American chemist known for his studies of human nutrition and metabolism, and considered the father of modern nutrition research and education. He is credited with developing the Atwater system. Okay, open link in new tab. Atwater system, named after Wilbur Olin Atwater, or derivatives of this system are used for the calculation of available energy for foods. The system was developed largely from experimental studies of Atwater and his colleagues in the later part of the 19th century and the early years of the 20th at Wesleyan. Okay, its use has been frequently the cause of dispute. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, what is it? Is this how you discover how many calories are in a food? As with the calculation of so this is basically figuring out how many calories is in a food source, which I actually did it when I was in chemistry in high school. We did a like mock experiment to figure out how many calories was in a specific food, and basically we had to burn a goldfish cracker, and then however many seconds it took for the goldfish cracker to like crumble. I don't know, I don't remember it because I did a lot of shrugs after high school, but it was pretty interesting. But we figured out how many calories was in a single goldfish. So this is his early life. We don't care. Okay, his research was informed by the first law of thermodynamics, taking into account that energy can be transformed, but it cannot be created or destroyed, despite the belief at the time that the law only applied to animals because humans were unique. Early experiments concerning calorie intake and expenditure had been proven that the first law applied to animals at Atwater's findings. Through his calorimetry. So he's like the daddy of calorie counting. I'm just kidding. So not a lot of, I was looking for like an infographic or something, but not a lot of info there. Okay, a new guide in 1916, Food for Young Children by nutritionist Caroline Hunt, categorized foods into milk and meat, cereals, vegetables, fruit, fats, and fatty foods, and sugars/sugary foods. How to Select Food in 1917 promoted these 5 food groups into adults, and the guidelines remained in place throughout the 20s. In 1933, the USDA introduced food plans at 4 different cost levels in response to the Great Depression. Okay, Basic 7. In 1943, during World War II, the USDA introduced a nutrition guide promoting the Basic 7 food groups to help maintain nutritional standards under wartime food rationing. See, this is where things, I feel like this is where things get, like, when it becomes like a marketing thing. We're making posters. Big food companies are like, hey, maybe we can get we can convince them to put this food group on so that we can sell more of our food group, like dairy or whatever, right? I'm a big bean farmer. Maybe I can tell them to put legumes on the whatever the fuck. Okay, the basic 7 food groups were green and yellow vegetables. Weird. These are food groups? Green and yellow vegetables, oranges, tomatoes, grapefruit, or raw cabbage and salad greens, potatoes and other vegetables and fruits, milk and milk products, meat, poultry, fish, or eggs, bread, flour, cereals, and butter/fortified margarine. Weird. Okay. Then it regressed to the basic 4 from 1956 until 1992. That's a long time. That's a long time of being like a singular guideline. From 1956 to I guess that's not that long. That's like not even 40 years. Is it? Yeah, that's not even 40 years. That's actually not that long. It's not even 40 years. I think that's exactly like how old I am. 36. So I'm 35 this year in March. I just made myself older. That's a long time of being like a singular guideline. I've been alive for a long time. Okay, from 1956 until 1992, the United States Department of Agriculture recommended its basic 4 food groups. These food groups were milk, meat, fruit, and vegetables, bread, and cereals. If I were to, you know, say I feel like that's the most accurate. Like that's what is um like those are accurate food groups to me. It's like meat, dairy, fruit, veg, carbs. That's what we've got. But also maybe it's meat, fats, fruit, veg, carbs. I feel like I don't know if I don't know if I would put milk as its own food group. That seems weird to me. I feel like that kind of falls into like the fat part. But me not, what do I know? I'm just a regular schmegular gal. All right. Okay, the food guide pyramid. Okay, guys, we are here. We're almost through. The food guide pyramid, this is the one from my childhood, 1992. The introduction of the USDA's food guide pyramid in 1992 attempted to express the recommended servings of each food group, which previous guides did not do. So this one kind of goes into detail as to what to eat. Let's look. Some of them have more, it'll list like what's in the group. So like if, for example, I'm in the vegetable group, it'll say like eggplant, carrots, potatoes, yada, yada, yada. I'm in the meat. It'll tell you what kind of meats, ribeye steak, ground beef, chicken legs, right? This is what they're talking about. Inside each group were several images of representative foods, such as well as symbols representing the fat and sugar contents of the food. So yes, it's talking about, it shows pictures of what is in each section of the pyramid, and it got even fancier and schmancier and like more detailed. All right, next in 2005, so that only lasted 13 years, but I still feel like for some reason, even though we got like these other, like we got MyPyramid, we got the plate, I still always like referred back to the food pyramid because I felt, in my opinion, MyPyramid and MyPlate weren't that different. They were just aesthetically different than the regular pyramid. So let's take a look at the MyPyramid. Okay, so this is the MyPyramid. It was introduced in 2005. And as you can see, grains and bread and all that jazz is still at the largest portion of the pyramid, but they've also added this person to show that you should be moving. But again, it's still grains and fruits and veg. So grains are still at the top, but this time they've taken out like fats and sugar. And then the bread is still, like the protein is still at the top. Like they're still telling you to not prioritize protein, which me not like that. All right, let's take a gander. Okay, so in 2005, the USDA updated its guide with the MyPyramid, which replaced the hierarchical the hierarchical levels of the food guide pyramid with colorful vertical wedges, often displayed without images of foods True. Creating more abstract design, stairs were added to the left side of the pyramid with an image of a climber to represent a push for exercise. The share of the pyramid allotted to grains now only narrowly edged out vegetables and milk, which were of equal proportions. Fruits were next in size, followed by a narrower why are you putting these words in here? Followed by a narrower wedge for protein and small sliver for oils. I don't even think I see the oils on that one. An unmarked white tip represented discretionary calories for items such as candy, alcohol, or additional food from any other group. So it doesn't even, it's unmarked. So I would have never, ever thought that that's where sugar goes. However, do people listen to the food pyramid? No, they don't. They do not. But this is necessary for like health classes and for your school to tell you what to do and what to eat, all that jazz. Okay, next was the MyPlate. Let's go to the MyPlate page. Okay, my healthy eating plate. My healthy eating plate. So take a look at the screen. Let me fix this really quick. All right, now I'm out of the way. Okay, so healthy eating plate. Starts with healthy oils. Use heating oils like olive and canola oil. Oh my god, if it's 2025, if you guys are still cooking with canola oil or like putting that on your food like a salad or whatever, making salad dressing with canola oil, do better. Mommy don't like canola oil. And it's because it's why are we eating canola oil? Why are we eating rapeseed oil? It's weird. There's so many better oils out there. And I know it's affordable, it's like way more affordable, but I guess if you can't afford avocado oil, like chill out on get some butter. I mean, butter's not that much expensive, is it? If you can't afford avocado oil, I'm sorry. And if that's the only oil that you can eat, I would suggest like steaming your food until you can afford avocado oil, because I feel like that's way better than canola oil. It's just such an inflammatory. I'm just like not a seed oil person, you guys. Except I don't mind sunflower oil though. Sunflower oil is not that bad, in my opinion. I'm just not a fan of canola oil. It just is, it's just, no, I'm good. Okay, the more veggies and the greater the variety, the better. Potatoes and french fries don't count. Eat plenty of fruits of all colors. Water. Drink water, tea, or coffee with little or no sugar. Limit milk, dairy to 1 to 2 servings a day, and juice, 1 small glass a day. Okay, eat a variety of whole grains like whole wheat bread pasta, whole grain pasta, and brown rice. Limit refined grains like white rice and white bread. Okay, that's a better step. So, and then choose fish, poultry, beans, and nuts. Limit red meat and cheese. Avoid bacon, cold cuts, and other processed meats. All right, so I'm looking at this. So I don't see any sugar. I see a little man that says stay active. So that's plus. They've increased the amount of vegetables that you should have, and they have increased protein as well. And the whole grains part is also decreased so that they're equal of size. So that's not as bad. Again, I'm a big proponent of prioritizing protein. Okay, from 2011 to 2026, MyPlate was the nutrition guideline published by the United States Department of Agriculture, consisting of a diagram of a plate and glass divided into 5 food groups. It replaced the USDA's MyPyramid program in 2011, ending 19 years of food pyramid iconography. The diagram shows a plate divided into 4 wedges with the 2. Okay, I already discussed that. So, yeah, MyPlate better than the food pyramids. But I'm actually kind of glad that we went back to a food pyramid. But I think it's because I'm a millennial and like the food pyramid was like the shit, right? No, it wasn't. All right, dietary guidelines. The Center for Nutrition Policy and Promotion in the USDA and the United States Department of Health and Human Services jointly released a longer textual document called the Dietary Guidelines I was going to say the Dietary Guidelines for Gentlemen. For Americans. The first edition was published in 1980 and since 1985 has been updated every 5 years by the committee. Like the USDA food pyramid, these guidelines have been criticized as being overly influenced by the agriculture industry. That's what I've been saying.
I tell you!
These criticisms of the dietary guidelines arose due to the omission of high-quality evidence that the Public Health Service decided to exclude. The phrasing of recommendations was extremely important and widely affected everyone who read it. The wording had to be changed constantly as there were protests due to comments such as cut down on fatty meats, which led to the Department of Agriculture having to stop the publication of the USDA food book. Okay, I want to know about the controversies. Okay, here we go. All right. So, criticism and controversy. Overview of controversies. Overview of controversies. The USDA's food pyramid has been a focal point of contention, significantly highlighted in April of 1991, when the publication of the Eating Right Pyramid was halted. This interruption came as a result of objections from meat and dairy lobbying groups displeased with the guide's portrayal of their products. See what I've been telling you? These lobbyist groups are fucking putting some work in to affect the food pyramid. Though the USDA cited a need for further research and testing, it wasn't until a year later, backed by the additional research, that the Eating Right Pyramid saw the light of day. Even then, adjustments were made to the guide's graphic design to address industry concerns. This episode serves as a prime example of numerous instances where the food industry endeavored to modify federal dietary recommendations to suit their economic interests. Listen, so Big Coca-Cola did the same thing. The Coca-Cola sued or did something to prevent like a sin tax of some sort, a sugary beverage tax, I think in California, just going off the top of my head. They spent so much money on these commercials to like help convince people to vote no on a particular proposition. And the ads were like something like, it would be like,
Don't you think that the government telling you not to have sugar is like too far? You know what to do. Like, you're a grown up, you can make your own decisions. Like, don't you think that what you put in your body is your decision, not the government's?
it's like stuff like that.
Feeding a family is difficult enough in today's economy. Now some politicians want the government telling me how I should do it, trying to control what we eat and drink with taxes.
Crazy.
I can decide what to buy without government help.
It's so crazy.
The government is just getting too involved in our personal lives.
And you know what's so wild is that the people at Coca-Cola, they know that their stuff is like addictive, one, and bad for you. And when I say bad for you, I mean bad for you. Like, you shouldn't be drinking 3 fucking full sugar Coca-Colas. It's just a lot of carbohydrates and a lot of energy, and a lot of people who do stuff like that are sedentary. And I have a problem with Coca-Cola. I just think that they're big bullies in the food industry. You see what I did there? I love Coke Zero, and I love Mr. Pibb, which is Coca-Cola. But I have a problem with them. However, I also love their product at the same time, and I don't think I should be judged because I'm not like, I'm not a saint. I'm not a saint. Can I talk shit? Yeah, I can talk shit. Okay? They do a lot of really weird, shitty shit. Do I feel a little guilty for buying their stuff? Yes. But also, Coke Zero. I feel a little guilty now that it's being, listen, you're buying it too. You're probably drinking a Coke Zero as well, but they do some shady shit. We don't really have, I was talking to somebody the other day, we don't really have like a fighting chance with all these big companies, okay? No matter what we buy, unless I'm going to a farmer's house and buying their fucking whatever, kombucha or the fuck, there's gonna be some shady shit behind it, and unless I'm drinking just water, boring, right? And even the water has problems. Okay, like I drink filtered water, but then like, what about fluoride? What about mercury in the water? What about lead? Okay, can I just fucking live? Can we just like have a country where like there's common human decency and like we don't poison our fellow man? Rant over. Industry influence. The extent of the industry influence over the years is well documented. The lobbying from the meat and dairy industries has had a pronounced impact on the formulation and representation of the food pyramid. Instances where the design or content of the food pyramid was tweaked to assuage, which I don't know what that means, so we're going to learn another big word, you guys. Listen, I've never been a big reader, and I think that's why I have very poor vocabulary as of late. Okay, assuage, make an unpleasant feeling less intense. So to chill a situation out. An opportunity occurred to assuage the desire for knowledge, to satisfy appetite or desire, right?
Assuage.
All right, to letter assuage the fears of most members. Okay, the pyramid was tweaked to assuage industry concerns are discussed in Mary and Nestle's food politics. Mary and Nestle of the Nestle dynasty?
Is Vita Bohem of the Manhattan Bohems?
The alteration of federal dietary guidelines to cater to industry interests highlights a long-standing issue of the industry influence over public health and recommendations. So yeah, do I think that food pyramids and all these guidelines are important? I think yes, because I do believe there are a lot of people out there who need their hands held. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I do know that there are a lot of people who put a lot of trust and a lot of dependence on our local government and our federal government. So I do think that some people do need stuff like this. However, we're also influenced people. Like we're easily influenced people. We go onto TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, and we get a lot of our like information that way. We're social media people now. We're getting a lot of our news this way. And we're getting a lot of like advice and education through our phones. So, yes and no, I don't think we need stuff like this because a lot of people are going to do what works for them and think for themselves and what works for them. However, I think this is the best food pyramid that we've had only because of the whole grains, like the bread part at the bottom. Me like that. Do I think that the meat industry lobbied to be a big part of the food pyramid? Absolutely. Absolutely. Of course. Do I also think it's the most important part of the food pyramid? Absolutely. I do. I'm a big proponent of meat, you guys. If you didn't already tell, mommy likes eggs and meat. All right, impact on public perception of these controversies and the ensuing adjustments to the food pyramid have arguably cast a shadow on the public's trust in the USDA dietary guidelines. Absolutely. And again, I've been saying it. Anytime that they've made any kind of changes or you see something, oh, what had happened? It was that whole TikTok thing with like the aspartame, the artificial sugars campaigning that some of these like influencers were doing, right? That was mistrusting, that was causing some mistrust for some of the public. And then again, if you're like adjusting your food pyramid and your dietary guidelines because some lobbyists came to Washington and like fought for that, it seems so weird. It just seems so weird. But yeah, it does cause a lot of like if we didn't already mistrust the government, like doing stuff like that is super shady. Like changing the guidelines because Coca-Cola, like this is just an example, adding sugar, like if for some reason in 2 weeks they've decided to come back out with the food pyramid and then you saw a little tiny bit of sugar on there, that was Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola did that. So keep your eyes peeled if the food pyramid comes back with sugar on it. It's Coke. When did that happen? What the fuck is going on with this damn thing? Okay, so it didn't happen till the very end. All right, everybody, what do you guys think about the new food pyramid? Are we fans? Are we big proponents of protein? Or are we like, we like bread. We want to eat bread all day. That's okay if you want that. I still accept you because most importantly, we're here. Why? Why are we here?
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the matrix.
Besides this whole little bit of news that I wanted to do because I still want to do fat news, and it's not necessarily fat news, it's just news, but like I wanted to stay up on my dietary wellness and healthiness current events. And you're here because you also care immensely about the obesity epidemic and what's the number one thing that we can do to help the obesity epidemic? Eat properly. And I believe that this food pyramid is actually set up to help people eat properly. So yay to the federal government. You did something right for once. Somebody in the comments said something like, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Me like that. Me like that. Thank you so much. If you made it all the way to the end, go ahead and put a food group emoji in the comment. What is your favorite food group? Be honest. Do not lie. Be honest with me. Okay? If you're new here, Please go check out some of these videos that I have. I do care a ton about the obesity epidemic I was going to say in Florida. I do in Florida.
A national health survey put the overall obesity rate of Floridians at almost 30% of our population. But now a new study by the University of Florida suggests that number may be closer to 37%. Researchers also found it was more likely for women to be obese compared to men
in the United States. So if you're interested in my opinions on some of these fat activists out there, we're not for the fat activism in this country anymore. We're done with it. If you are interested in hearing my opinions on those topics, please actually go check out these videos here. Go check them out and subscribe. Also, if you're not already, you guys, become a member. It's only $1.99. Make you holla, and you get a extra video or more every week. Goodbye.
No, the fall is bitter. You've always been a quitter. I'm at the top of my game. You should have more.